All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Guys, we are back. I'm really sorry. Can you hear me? Okay, am I audible? Am I clear? Okay, fine. See, we'll start this seminar. We'll start the seminar. We'd like to understand from Harnoor, what all she did to get into a direct PhD, or a technique she used to get into a direct PhD. Okay, we'll know that in detail. We'll see what all she did. So let's get started without wasting any time. Welcome, Ms. Harnoor. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Not. I'm sorry. So, guys, once again, we are really sorry. That's for some technical issues we sorted out. I think there won't be any issues. Let me give a small introduction about Ms. Harnoor Kaur. Okay, and okay, Ms. Harnoor was a student of GREedge. Okay, she finished her undergrad, and she's applying to directly for a direct PhD. She got an admission from Texas Tech University with a full funding. She scored 160 in quant, 150 in verbal, and 4 in AWA. 4 in AWA is a very good score. Yeah, and she is looking for a chemical engineering, PhD in chemical engineering, Punjab University. So let us welcome Harnoor Kaur. Can we guys get an applause for Harnoor Kaur?
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Come on, guys, have the applause at least in the sync. Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Fine, Harnoor. We'll get started. Our usual doubt is one particular thing. Okay, why PhD? PhD is for 5-6 years. Why do you want to do it?
Actually, I was very much interested in the research and development work right from the beginning. I mean, with the plain bachelor's, you can't achieve that kind of work with a post. Like, I always dreamt of becoming a scientist. So one day, my professor said, if you want to do very much fascinated by this from the beginning only, so that's why I decided I would go for a PhD.
Okay, good. Yeah, PhD is one thing. Okay, and how many times are you thinking about PhD? Why PhD?
Pardon?
Were you always thinking about PhD? Now, one time, you said you want to do a master's. Then after last year, we decided about PhD. What's the one thing which were you haunted by PhD actually, that you have to definitely do a PhD?
The only thing which haunted me while applying for PhD was, after bachelor's, would I be getting any admit or not? Because the idea of applying directly after bachelor's and not having much experience about that field is one thing which haunts every fresher who has just done the bachelor's, because the chances of getting an admit after a BTech are less as compared to that after getting an admit after doing masters. So this was one basic thing, that okay, I am applying for universities, but what if I don't get an admit from anywhere? So that was one thing which haunted me while I was applying.
Exactly, especially when you're directly applying for PhD from masters, you'll obviously have this thing in your mind. In fact, for masters, it's difficult to get admit for a masters. When you're doing it for a PhD, it's always much more difficult. What challenges did you face in it? What challenges did you face while applying for PhD?
I'm not audible to you.
Yeah, right now you're audible. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hello?
Yeah, Harnoor, can you hear us?
Yeah, I think the connection is losing. I'm not able to.
You're able to.
Can you ask the question? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'll ask you a question. Were you ever haunted by PhD?
True, that's true.
Okay.
That was true because being not doing masters, you don't have much idea about your specialization, where you want to specialize in. So that is a big daunting task if you are applying after a direct BTech, and it requires a lot of research as well as consulting your professors also when you are applying for a direct PhD after bachelor's.
Okay. So one thing which goes on mind, right? What after PhD? Because PhD is going to be for 6 years. Depends on how well you're going to do it. And what after PhD?
Well, right now I'm more concerned about doing PhD because after 5-6 years I don't know what the scenario would be. But right now I'm thinking about working in an industry because my bachelor specialization was chemical engineering. So I would be doing something related to that only in PhD. So after that I would try to work in the R&D sector of a good oil and gas company like Shell or Indian Oil or anything like that. But after a few years of experience in industry, I would like to shift to teaching because that gives me more scope of concentrating on my research. So I would like to shift in an industry, in teaching, maybe as a professor in some good university.
Okay, good. And when you're thinking about after PhD, is it really possible to do a master's PhD after UG?
Yeah, it's really possible, and even I was not much aware about it. But when I went to one of my professors for a letter of recommendation, for asking him to write a letter of recommendation, he asked me, are you applying for an MS or a PhD, and what's your ultimate aim? If you want to do MS, do you in future want to do PhD or not? So I said, sir, my ultimate aim is to do PhD only. So he said, why don't you apply directly? You cannot apply directly to a PhD in European countries or in Canada, but you can apply directly in a country like US. And once you browse through the various websites of universities, you can see in their instruction list, they have said that yes, it's possible to apply after UG. So it was then that I came to know that yes, a fresher just pass out from BTech can also apply for a PhD without doing masters.
Okay.
So then I applied for that.
Let me ask our audience today, guys, how many of you are really looking for a PhD, irrespective of applying directly for a PhD or masters, and after that PhD, how many of you are looking for a PhD? Good number of you are applying for PhD, isn't it? Okay. So how many of you are applying for masters? Okay, good. The next slide, Ms. Harnoor is going to share the tips and techniques of getting a direct PhD. It will also be definitely helpful for guys who are applying for masters. Most of the steps here, or most of the topic here which we're going to discuss, it's much more relevant, for PhD, but doesn't mean that masters guys shouldn't listen. It is much more, if a PhD guy is able to get an admitted a full funding, there's a high chance that for a masters guy, if you follow the following steps, you'll be able to get it in much more easier way. Okay, so Harnoor, can you share us the techniques, the steps for a direct PhD?
Well, I would say the very first step of while applying for a PhD is to have a very good GRE score as well as TOEFL score. So that's the preliminary thing. Even if you are applying for MS or you are applying for PhD, that's the first criteria you have to follow. You got to have decent GRE and TOEFL score. After that, it matters a lot on your letter of recommendation and statement of purpose. If your letter of recommendations are very impressive, they've been written by professors who are well recognized in the industry or in academia also, then that can be a very positive point. And most of us neglect the statement of purpose. We think that it's only a simple formality sake essay which we need to write, but the university people, the admissions office in any university pays special attention on statement of purpose. It can be a game changer if you have written it very nicely and very genuinely without using much flowery words or trying to put yourself, but trying to express why you deserve to be there. Then statement of purpose is definitely very important criteria. And the third would be your academics. Your academics do matter a lot when you are applying for PhD, and that's the basic reason why universities ask for your official transcripts, because they scrutinize it very nicely whether you are able to score very good in your core subjects of your engineering choice. So these three are very important. And the fourth could be your paper publications, but I didn't have any paper publication while doing bachelor's. I did present papers in few international and national conferences, but paper publication can be a positive point, but lack of publication can be compensated with these 3 points also. So it's not very much mandatory to have a paper publication.
Okay, but you feel that if you have a paper publication, it's definitely helpful.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
It could be helpful in some cases, but we cannot say that it's one of the most important criteria. It can be a criteria, but not very much important.
Okay. Your overall profile is considered for your admit rather just than your, let's say your GI score. People think, if I score 330, I'll be definitely able to get an admit. Or people think like I score 300, I won't be able to get an admit. Is that the case, or the complete profile is what matters?
No, we cannot say that GRE is the only factor. It is one of the major important factors. Like while application is scrutinized, if I say from my point of view, while an application is scrutinized, 50% weightage, 40 to 50% of weightage would be given to your GRE score, then TOEFL score, then 20-30% could be weightage could be given to LORs and SOP. 10 to 12% of weightage could be given to your work X or your paper publications. So GRE is a very important factor, but combined with other factors also, that can be a major deciding factor while if you are going to get admission or not in a direct PhD.
Okay, guys, Harnoor, we are getting a lot of questions here. Guys, we'll make sure Ms. Harnoor is answering all your questions before she leaves. But I'll pick one or two questions. Mr. Agneet wants to know, according to you, what is a decent GRE score, TOEFL score?
GRE as well as TOEFL?
Yeah, a decent score, according to you.
I would say if your profile is very nice, if you can manage a very nice LOR, SOP, then a decent GRE score would be anything above 310. And a TOEFL score above 100 is considered to be good while you are applying for even while you're applying both for MS or PhD, a score above 310 in GRE and a TOEFL score above 100 or 95 plus.
Okay, good. Okay. So you said we spoke about PhD. What specialization you're planning to take?
I don't know if people would be able to relate to it, but it's something related to computational fluid dynamics and modeling and simulation. I guess the people from chemical or mechanical branch would be able to relate to it. And I chose this field because I've been working for 1 year in an industry after I passed out from my BTech, and that company did the same thing. So I was even more interested in studying further about this subject. So that's why I've chosen it. And I've got really nice professors in Texas Tech University who are working in the same field. So that's basic reason. of
Okay.
choosing it.
So when you said about Texas Tech University and you also said about work experience, it is good to apply to a university which is relevant for your work experience. Is it that way?
Yeah, it can be very good. Even while you're writing your SOP, you can mention it that since your specialization matches with the kind of research which is going on in university, so you could be considered as a chosen applicant. So that definitely is a factor which will go in your favor. So mentioning about it and working in and doing specialization in a thing which you have already done is going to be very much beneficial for you in the future also. So
Okay.
going completely away from your field is like starting from the scratch, but continuing in the same field is going to be beneficial for you.
Okay. So with that point, so when did you start thinking about PhD? You said about prof saying it, but really when did it start?
After I was done with my third year of industrial internship, so I decided that I worked in R&D sector only. I worked in Dulux Paints, and after that, by looking how things work, I decided that I want to go pursue PhD, and as I said above also, I want to work in R&D of a good firm. So that's when I decided that this is the right point of starting to prepare for GRE, because in the final year you get to know more what you are going to do ahead in your life. So that was the point at the end of third year, 6 semesters, I decided that I would start preparing for GRE.
Okay. So we'll come to the GRE part. We'll definitely come to the GRE part. A lot of us students asking how did you prepare, what's the technique. But before that, full funding, that's really superb. How did you feel about when you know about the full funding? Of course, most of the PhD are full funding, but you also get a stipend. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, I feel really very happy because I never expected that I would be getting full funding without spending even a single penny from my parents' pockets. So that was very nice feeling that I'll be going to a foreign land, studying in a place where the cost of education is so high, and moreover studying a field which I think I'm good at, or I can be good at. So it was a very nice feeling. I felt even more confident and independent after learning that I've got a full funding. So it
Okay.
was very nice.
Congrats on that. We are really happy for it. Just like Prashanti, I also have the same doubt. Prashanti and myself wants to know, can you give me the full details about your full funding, split up of funding, how much money you're going to earn?
Yeah, I've got full tuition fee waiver. Actually, the fee in Texas Tech University for 1 year is around $15,000. So the university is going to pay my tuition fee. And apart from that, I've got a scholarship, or you can say stipend, of $27,500 and plus health insurance also.
Okay, which
So
eventually takes care of your living expense, which eventually take care of any other expense which you're going to have.
true, that's true.
Okay, so it means that you're going to just spend for your flight.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, absolutely good. Okay, how many of you are really motivated to get a full funding, just like Harnoor? Okay, there's really good candidates coming up, Harnoor. I think maybe next year on in spring you can find a lot of our students in Texas Tech. Maybe you can guide them there.
Sure, sure. Sure, that would be really nice.
Okay, so again, one of our students had this particular question in our mind. Profile for a direct PhD, or what do you say is the right profile for a direct PhD?
Like I said, you need to be very much academically sound, because even for MS also, but for PhD, if you have a paper publication, that can add to your profile. But even without a paper, with or without paper publication, they lay a lot of emphasis on your ACADS. And if by chance you are not able to manage very decent ACADS, then your GRE and TOEFL score, high TOEFL score and high GRE score, is going to compensate for it. And having LORs from professors or from some higher authority person in industry, like your head of department or your manager, is going to be very good. And your SOP I'm saying it again and again, SOP is a very important thing. It can change the game. So how you express yourself, how you show that you deserve to be in this university, it can create a lot of impact.
Okay. So when you're talking about your profile, how did you manage to keep your patience? Okay, because working for your PhD and admissions is a very difficult and daunting task. How did you do it?
There were many times when I was discouraged on, because you wish to apply to very highly ranked universities, but then you think that your profile is not sufficient enough. So at that point of time, I think you need to be in touch with all the people who can motivate you, like your parents or your professors or even your SFAs also. They can motivate you a lot. And even your professors who are from your industry, they'll tell you which university you should apply and which not. So I wanted to apply to many highly ranked universities, but my professor said if your specialization work is not going good in that university, then you don't need to apply there. Rank does not always matter. There are many factors which matter while applying for PhD and while going to a particular university. So there are many people around you which keep you motivating, like my colleagues also, my professors, my SFAs also. I used to be directly in touch with GREedge members. So they used to keep on saying me, edit your SOP in this way and that way. So you need to be with the right people at the right point of time in order to get motivated again and again.
Okay. When you're talking about the motivating factor, you said your parents have been a motivating factor. Okay, but
Yeah.
how did your parents react to full funding and a PhD?
First of all, they never said a no of my decision of doing PhDs. They were very happy that I'm thinking of studying something ahead of bachelor's. And when they learned about, they were not having any problem if I said that I want to apply for MS and I wouldn't be given scholarship, because the chances of getting a scholarship in MS are a little less nowadays. So if I would have said them that the expenses would be 50 lakhs, so they would have spent it, but then I didn't want it to spend even a single penny from my parents' pocket. So they were really happy on learning that I've managed all this admission process on my own, and now I'm going to study on my own expenses also. So they were very happy.
Definitely, it makes every parent. I definitely think my parents also would have been happy if I didn't take money, but it's gone. Okay, but one thing is, like, when you're talking about the ranking of universities, like many of our students are not stuck to the ranking. I want to apply for top 20, top 30, but you didn't do that.
Yeah,
you went through, though you have a good profile to apply to a much better university, you didn't do it. Or you got admitted from better university, you didn't do it. You took a university which gave you opportunity. What do you have to say to guys like them, okay, who are stuck up to ranking?
See, even I had a very big misconception about rankings also. So I went to my professor. I had an initial list of 8 to 10 universities I wanted to apply to. And I went to my professor, because my professor is retired now, my 4th year project guide. So he knew a lot. He's been into this field for around 30-40 years. So I went to him. I told him, this is my list. I want to apply to these universities. And in that list, there were 5 to 6 universities which were in this top 20 bracket. So he said, cut it out of your list. You are not going to get an admit. He said it straight to the point. I asked why. He said, even if you get an admit, your area of specialization is not being taught there. So what will you do there? Your ranking wouldn't matter after your PhD. Your work, your thesis, and your publications in your PhD is going to matter. And even though I was getting admitted in Michigan State University, which has a better ranking as compared to Texas Tech University, but since I said my specialization was computational fluid dynamics, and Michigan State University has a lot of work going on in polymers, which I didn't want to do. And my area of specialization was very much active in Texas Tech University. I mean, the professor under whom I'm going to work is pass out from MIT. So it doesn't really matter if your ranking is good or not, as long as the kind of work that you are doing is being taught in that college. I posted it on Facebook's page also of GRE. I had this dilemma whether I should go for Michigan or I should go for Texas. So a lot of people told me ranking doesn't matter. Your research work and your thesis during your PhD matters more, and how you perform during your course of study, that matters more.
Definitely, I think it will definitely help these guys who are thinking about ranking. Guys, one thing which we keep saying in all our seminars, ranking is one aspect which you have to look for. That's good if you have to look for, but the main aspect is the research area. That is why you'll know whether you're going to get a funding or not, if you are looking for a funding. Okay. So, what are your plans for your friends? Any of your friends planning to join a master's?
Yeah, two of my friends have already gone for masters, and they went for spring season, and now 3 to 4 of my batchmates are going for MS this fall, but none of them are going for PhD. So they were very happy to learn when I told them. They asked me what is your scholarship stipend. So I said my scholarship stipend is this. So they were very happy because they are going there spending 60 to 65 lakhs. Some are spending 65 lakhs also. So they were very happy that, and they were a bit envious of me also, that I am going there without spending anything. So none of them are going for PhD, all are going for MS.
Okay.
But yes, my batchmates are going.
That's good. That's really good, isn't it? Friends, slightly envious from friends is it's all right. We can adjust. Okay, guys, are you ready to go in detail about Harnoor's GRE preparation? Can we look into Harnoor's GRE preparation, how it's going? Yes. Yes, Naman. Naman, don't worry. We have the list of universities and how we go for the coming slides. Don't worry about it. Okay. Before we go to that. You're with us, Harnoor. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. We'll have a short, rapid fire just to get an idea about your future and what you're thinking. We'll go through it very quickly. The conditions of rapid fire, which I already spoke about. We'll go see that. Okay. So.
Okay.
Your favorite GRE word?
Meticulous.
Okay. Favorite section in GRE, verbal or quant?
Quant.
Rate your overall GRE experience on a scale of 1 to 5?
4.
Your favorite quant topic?
It would be geometry.
Okay. Favorite part in verbal?
I think text completion.
Okay. Describe Texas Tech in one word.
My dream come true.
Okay, that's not a one word, but I'll take it. Name the.
Yeah, but it's one phrase.
Okay. Name the person who inspires you the most.
Sachin Tendulkar.
I thought you will be saying your mom who's nearby you. You didn't do it. I have a talk with her. Okay. Your favorite SFA, Sonia for verbal or Shivakumar for quant?
Actually, both of them.
One answer. I need an answer.
Sonia ma'am.
Okay. I'll tell Shivakumar regarding it. Favorite GRH feature?
Pardon?
Favorite GRE Edge feature? Anything in the learning tracker which you like?
I think I liked everything about GREedge, but I think quant lessons were very nice.
Okay. GREedge experience in one word.
It was enriching.
Okay. That's a good word. A quick word of advice for our students.
I would say follow your SFAs. What they say, you need to follow them very obediently.
Okay. Thank you for that. We'll have a round of applause, guys. She has done a rapid fire.
Thank you.
When will you guys learn to clap and sing? I'm not sure about it. Okay, we'll continue. Okay, your GRE plans. When did you start preparing for GRE?
I started it right after I was finished with 6th semester of my engineering.
Okay.
So I started in the month of July, end of July.
Okay. So when talking about GRE, why should you start early? Shouldn't you prepare for 1 month and just go for it?
That's true. I think I started it a bit late. For all those who are preparing it, I would say one should start preparing it in the 3rd year of engineering, like in 5th semester or in the beginning of 6th semester, if you don't want to put any gap between your bachelor's and your plans of studying ahead. Like I gave my GRE at the end of December after I was done with my 7th semester exams. So I was late for deadlines, so that put a 1 year gap only. So the ideal time would be 5th and 6th semester, anything between 5th and 6th semester.
Okay. And what was your target score when you started preparing?
Anything between 315 to 320, because I knew I was a bit weak in verbal. I could manage quant very well, so I wanted it to be between 315 to 320.
Okay. So you almost got a target score, especially in your AWA.
Yeah,
Almost. But especially in the AWA, your score was really good. 4. How did you reach it?
Actually, when in the beginning, I was introduced to my SFAs. So Sonia ma'am was my verbal SFA. She told me, because quant, being from engineering background, I can handle quant. But verbal was my weak point. So Sonia ma'am gave me a list, a whole schedule which I need to follow. So she said you need to learn 100 to 150 words per week, and you need to do 4 to 7 RC passages. Start with short ones, then medium ones, and then long ones. And then she gave me a complete list of the things which I should read, like articles from Hindu, the New York Times, the Washington Post, because she says that maintaining a reading pace would help you not only in RC passages but also in AWA, because you never know which topic is going to appear in AWA, and you should have the knowledge about what's going around you in the world. So she gave me a whole plan which I need to follow, and I just followed what she said.
Okay. So when you're talking about AWA and earning, does reading help in AWA? How does it help?
It helps a lot actually, because just learning of the words, like 100 to 150 words, you can learn it. But when you are reading some passages or you are reading any magazine, you get acquainted with that word. So if that same word that you have just read the previous day in your word list, you get to learn it even more faster. And you get to know how to write a passage, how to make short paragraphs. Like an article would generally, a good article would generally have 5 to 6 paragraphs. So how did the writer started the introduction and how did he ended it? So that helps in AWA. That's the only way you have to write in an issue and argument also. Like you have to write some starting lines in introduction, then you have to write the problem in one paragraph, then the solution, then you have to conclude. So that's how reading more and more would help you in writing AWAs.
Okay. How did you plan it? Because you said we've been working. Let me ask our audience here. How many of you guys are working? How many of you are working professionals? A good number. Okay. How did you plan your studies for these guys? Can you just explain for these guys who've been working and studying hard for the future? How did you do it?
For working people, I would say I have actually Sonia ma'am said that you need to read for at least 30 minutes per day. So you need to read 30 minutes per day. You need to follow RC passages. You need to complete 2 RC passages at least per day. So I made this a habit, and it's still going with me of reading. So whenever I'm traveling in a bus, or I'm sitting idle, or I'm doing nothing, I just read a magazine, or I just open my mobile and start reading any of the magazine online. So you have to make reading a part of your life. It should be a good habit. You need to do it regularly. Plus the words that are taught in GREedge, that are very nicely taught with the help of mnemonics or photographs. So you need to write it down, put it in your pocket, the word list, and whenever you are free, just read it. And in this way, you keep on remembering words. It's better to remember words in this way rather than cramming them. It never helps. Cramming never helps. And regarding RC passages, if you make reading your habit, you will realize that handling RC passages would become even more better. You read a passage and try to conclude it in your own words in 3 to 5 lines. That's what Sonia ma'am used to tell me, and I used to follow it very much obediently. So you need to make reading a habit, and you need to practice RC passages more and more. There are many RC passages in the package of GREedge. You ask for it. Even if you are finished with those package, ask your SFA. They will give you even more. So it never ends. You can keep on practicing it more and more every day.
Okay, the more you
practice
practice
is the only solution for anything.
The more you practice is much, especially, I have to say this year, you prepared last year with us. So, by the time now, we have actually a much more better solution for the word list. You said, you have to write it down and have it in a pocket. Right now, we have a word bot. Okay, it's a mobile application, which helps students to learn the words while they're on. Since they already, that's an application for them, the account with them, they can also use this account. It's been a huge success. You can try and you can let us know. Guys, you can also try. My team can share you the link, and you can try the word bot link, and they can let you know. Okay, so coming to the next thing. Okay, how long did you prepare for GRE? How many days, how many hours did you spend each day?
I prepared for around 4 months for GRE, but as I said, I had my exams because that was not the right time. To be very honest, giving your exam in 5th or 6th semester is the right time. In the 7th, in the final year, you have many other things going on in college also, or for working people also sometimes. So I prepared for 4 months, but then I had my semester exams for 1 month. It put a gap, and I think if I would have given it right before my exams, I would have scored better. So don't put a gap while you are preparing. Prepare in continuity and give your exam right after. I prepared for 4 months, and for quant sessions, my SFA told me you don't need to follow any time schedule. Just make sure that you do 4 quant sessions per week. And for verbal, I used to complete 4 to 7 RC passages per week and 100 to 150 words. And reading, I used to do it every day. So that was the particular plan. The number of hours were not fixed, but the work that I have to do in 1 week, that was fixed. What I have to complete in 1 week.
Okay, so when you're also talking about quant, like ours, you made, quant is easy for you, but people, I have this idea, I'm very strong in quant, so I need not practice. I'll practice in last 20 days. Is that what you did, or you kept practicing even though you felt it was?
Practicing in last 20 days, I would say it's a very bad idea, because quant may be easy, but there are many number of topics. If you will practice it, all of them in last 20 days, ultimately you are going to get confused. The GRE's exams questions are not very much tough, but they are from a variety of topics that if you try to mug up all the formulas without practicing them, you are going to get them wrong on the day of your test. So if you are practicing verbal, you need to practice quant also sincerely, because that can fetch you a large number of marks provided you are practicing it every day or once in 2 days. So like I said, my SFA told me don't bother much about the number of hours you put in a week. Just make sure you complete 4 sessions of quant, like 4 topics of quant you have to complete in 1 week, and I would evaluate it and I would let you know what are the mistakes that you made. So I used to do my lessons, I used to take the tests, and my SFA used to give me feedback where I went wrong, and I used to make sure I make a note of what mistake I did and never repeat it again. So learning from mistake is the best way you can learn.
Okay, so for that you have to practice, make mistakes, and learn from it, isn't it? That's a good advice, definitely a good advice. But here's what one thing people are looking for. How did you prepare for verbal? Because, come on, learning 3,500 or 300 words is very difficult. How did you do it?
Verbal, I would say it's for the people from engineering background. I can say verbal is a bit tough as compared to quant. So you need to put more number of hours for verbal. And first of all, don't consider it is a boring thing. In RC passages initially would look like a very Herculean task, but once you start doing it, once you start discussing it with your SFA, where you went wrong, so in that sense you are going to score good in RC passages ultimately. So practice RC passages, and when you are practicing RC passages, try to read as much as you can. And like my SFA also told me, read a passage, then make a summary of it in your own words, 4 to 5 lines. That helps in actually answering those questions where you have to tell what's the main idea, like main idea questions. What is the author trying to say? That helps a lot in those type of questions. Then you need to learn your words also, because that helps in text completions also. There are nothing like you need to find antonyms or synonyms to it. That pattern is not valid now. But you need to have a very good vocabulary, and for that you need to practice, you need to learn words, and you need to apply them to your daily life also, like talking and using those words more and more. So that helps. You can talk to your SFA also in that manner only, using the words that you've learned. You can write a mail to your SFA using those words. So that helps actually. Your SFA is your best guide in verbal, I would say. Whatever he or she says, you need to follow it sincerely.
I will definitely pass it on to Miss Sonia. Okay, I think already Miss Sonia has a huge following. Definitely, I'll pass it on to her. And coming to AWA, see, AWA is one thing, 3.5, okay, is people can get it. 4 and above is slightly tough. And how did you crack 4?
For AWA, I would say, if you know that your writing skills are not very good, you need to be constantly in touch with SFA. Like for me, I am okay with writing. So I used to read a lot, but then during the last 1 month before my GRE, I told Sonia ma'am that I need to practice AWA. What is the pattern that I should follow while writing an essay, issue or argument? So she used to give me a topic. I used to write it, and she used to evaluate it. That's the best way. So your SFA would tell you that the first paragraph should be all about introduction. The second paragraph would be some general findings about that issue or argument. The third would be how you can contradict it, or if you are writing in its favor, why you favor it, or what are the points in its in its favor. So then you have to conclude it, right? Like you need to have an AWA between 4 to 6 paragraphs. A good AWA is that where you write 4 to 6 paragraphs, and each paragraph has around 5 to 6 lines. So I used to write it, I used to mail it to Sonia ma'am. She used to review it, and she used to give the marks also between 0 to 6. So sometimes I used to score 3.5, 4, 4.5. So whatever your SFA evaluates, I've seen most of the times that would be your GRE score only, whatever your SFA evaluates. So keep reading and keep asking your SFAs for more and more topics, so that you can write and you can evaluate. Just studying the previous year's AWA won't help unless and until you don't write it on your own. You don't start expressing it on your own. So you need to write it on paper, and then you need to get it evaluated from your SFA. That's the best way.
Okay, I'll definitely ask our students, especially students who are part of Sonia ma'am's or any of your verbal trainers, go ask for AWA topics. They'll definitely give you a topics. Just make sure you write it and get it evaluated. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
that's right.
is it but really difficult to score high in GRE? People say, scoring is tough in GRE. What do you think should be a best medicine for scoring good in GRE?
I would say time management is the best thing which can help you sail through GRE, because even if you are, for example, I say I am very good at quant, and being overconfident, I don't practice quant. So that's the thing that's going to drown me on the day of my test. So you need to be confident but not overconfident. You need to practice both of them with putting adequate number of hours. No matter how strong you are in any part of GRE, you need to practice it more and more. You need to manage your time, and you need to dedicate it, and you need to learn from your mistakes. That's the best thing. If you don't learn from your mistakes, you keep on committing the same mistake again and again in your tests, in your practice tests which are given by GRE. There are lots of practice tests that I did, and I made it a point to note that I don't commit the same mistake which I've done in the previous test. So time management and sincerely practicing and learning from your mistakes. These 3 factors, if you follow, you are going to score very nicely in GRE.
Okay. Agnet has this particular doubt. Okay. Is it necessary to use GRE words necessary for scoring more than 3 in AWA? Is it necessary that you should use AWA GRE words?
I would say writing a very lucid and simple essay would help you in scoring very well. It's just a misconception that the more number of flowery words you use in your SFA is going to give you more number of marks. My SFA, Sonia ma'am told me you just need to write to the point. Maybe using 2 to 3 good GRE words is going to help you. But if you think that you are deviating from the topic and you are just putting in more number of heavy words and you are going to get good marks, no, that's not the point. You need to just be to the point. You need to explain. You need to write according to the topic. Using more or less number of GRE words is not going to matter much in your AWA. Using 3 to 4 words would be good, but overusing it sometimes proves you to be a very boastful writer in front of those who are evaluating your essays. So it's always good to minimize the words. Of course, it's good to use some, but minimizing it would be better.
Okay, you're saying
Don't too much.
Okay, saying that keep it very simple. Don't need flamboyant English.
Keep it very simple and to the point.
Okay, so you kept saying about SFAs. Let me tell what SFA stands for people who haven't joined GREedge. SFA is student facilitator and analyst. Those are your personalized trainers who will be guiding you in your GRE. Okay, when you're talking about SFAs, do you have any message for your SFA?
Oh, I would be very, very thankful. I actually wanted to call Sonia ma'am and Shiv sir also, but I didn't get the time. So I am very much thankful for their patience, because I used to call them, be constantly in touch with them, and they've been very patient. And I would give a special thanks to Yogesh sir, because he evaluated my SOPs also, even after I was done with my GRE. Even when I had this confusion of choosing between 2 to 3 universities, to which university I should say yes. So he helped me a lot, and I am after school, I have never seen such dedicated teachers. So I am very, very thankful to all the SFAs, to all the team of GREedge for being so much hardworking and so much patience also.
Yeah, that's the first criteria they evaluate in our interviews. But anyways, how patient we are. But what was like for your GRE experience? How was the experience of writing the exam?
It was the ambience is very good in all the GRE centers all around India, and my center was in Gurgaon. So it was on 26th December, and it was very cold on that day. But when you go inside the room, it's because of the heat of the computers also, and because of the heating system there also, you start feeling a bit sweaty. So make sure you are not wearing too many woolen clothes. And even in summers also, make sure you are not wearing sleeveless shirts, or for all the people who are going to give tests, because in summers it's vice versa. The air conditioning system is too strong that you are not able to cope up with it. But initially when you start, you are a bit nervous. I was also a bit nervous. The first section was that of AWA. But when you know that, okay, it's like a similar experience that like you had in GREedge, because I practiced a large number of tests in GREedge package also, like 4 to 5. So I thought like it was another GREedge paper only. So I was very comfortable once. During the initial 15-20 minutes are a bit nervousness, you need to control it. But after you settle, it is very calm and the ambience is very good. So it was a very nice experience. I had no issues about being very much anxious or nervous. Okay. It was very nice.
Mm-hmm. Whenever, during my seminars, whenever I say about, proper attire for GRE exam, they used to ask me, it's not a reason to why should I have a proper attire? This has been repeated by many of our student guys. It's very cold inside the exam center. Sometimes it doesn't allow you to concentrate properly. They won't reduce the temperature, they won't increase the temperature. So make sure you're properly, your dress is much proper for the exam. Okay, don't think it's very, very warm place. It's a very, very cold place. Just like you're going to experience US before you go to US. So that's one thing. Okay, then talking about that, Okay, what were your GRE preparation options before you think of GREH? Because GREH is online. People always come to online as to take free tests. But what were your options?
Actually, some of my friends had joined some coaching center here nearby only. But then the basic problem, like I said, the final year, or for those who are working, or for even I would say not only final year, but sometimes your college studies are a bit tiring. You don't get the time to attend the coaching classes. So I was always against joining a coaching class because time management was a big problem. So I was just thinking of doing self-study because I thought if I can manage some time, I can do some self-study. That would be nice. But then I thought having guidance from at least someone during your preparation would help. I was just browsing through the web and searching for some online material where I got with this ad of GREH. I joined it. There was a 3-day free trial version. So I tried many of the questions there and it showed me my progress report. I thought that that's a very nice concept. I've never heard about it before. So I joined GREH. I didn't have any plans of joining any coaching center because time was a big problem, traveling from here to there. So I never thought about joining any coaching institute.
Okay, but why online? See, when we talk to our students before they join, they always have this idea. No, online is for free. Why online? And online I'll get distracted. But what did you feel and why online?
For me, it was very nice. It was very convenient because sometimes I used to practice at 3 in the morning, or sometimes I used to practice at 7 in the morning. So while you are joining a coaching institute, you have to follow that time schedule that your teacher has told you. But in case of GREH, if the preparation material is going to be online, and that too for free, I'm sure nobody is going to evaluate your things for free. You have to have one guide. And those guide I found in GREH. I used to study sometimes at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning. I used to post a doubt to Sonia ma'am or Shiv sir. And the next morning in the afternoon when I used to see my account of GREH, I had my doubt clear. So that was the basic reason why I joined GREH. I used to ask so many questions. When you are sitting in a class of 100 to 150 people, sometimes some of the people who are very introvert, they are a bit hesitant about asking questions to your teachers, thinking what would the other people would be thinking. It is a very silly question. But with your SFA, no one else is seeing your questions that you are posing in front of your teachers. So you can ask many number of questions. I used to ask silliest questions also, and I used to ask very nice questions also. So that's one basic and the biggest advantage of joining GREH. You can ask your questions. You don't have that problem of traveling or managing your time, and you can study whenever you want to.
Okay, great. So you said you came to us about the thing, so I'll just skip that question. Okay, again, you also told us what made you choose about GREH. Okay, so but
yeah.
Now, like, how do you describe your experience with GREH?
I would say it was, like I said in the rapid fire round also, it was very enriching. So I never thought I would meet a whole community of teachers online whom I have never met personally. It's all virtual world, but still they are so much patient and always ready there to listen to me. Whenever I used to mail any of my SFA asking I have this doubt, they would say, okay, we'll call you this evening. They used to call me instantly, ask where I am lacking, or sometimes I would say, no, I wouldn't be able to score well in verbal or quant. So my teacher used to say, okay, okay, don't worry, we'll mail you even more material. So there was never a lack of material from my teachers, and there was never a lack of motivation also. So they would say, why can't you achieve it? You can surely achieve it. You just need to practice, practice, and practice. So finding such nice people would be very difficult, and I found them here only. I'm being very much honest here.
I understand. I'll definitely take your word for it. I'm with blessed colleagues here. They are definitely helping our students to score well. Okay, when you are scoring about, when you are talking about your admissions, we are come to the main part, your admissions and stuff. Okay, so you applied for various list of universities. Okay, you applied for universities from Cornell to Texas. Can you tell us more about about your Texas Tech application process, and what all did you do for Texas Tech?
For Texas Tech University, like I said, I made a list of about 8 to 10 universities initially, and surprisingly, Texas Tech University wasn't in that list when I was going to apply. So I went to my professor and I asked that I want a very nice LOR written from you. So can you help me? So they said okay. So they said okay, you can tell me what's your list. So then he told me, don't go for the so and so universities, go for Texas Tech University. Then he told me to apply there. Regarding SOP, I started it in the month of second week. So I started writing it in the October second week. I asked Yogesh sir to evaluate it, and writing SOP is, I would say, it's not an easy task. One would say that SOP is just an essay describing you, but universities have a specific guideline about what they want in your SOP. Like I applied to 8 universities, I made 8 SOP. It was not that I wrote one SOP and used the same in all the 8 universities, because every university has different guidelines. Some want it to be written within 500 to 600 words, some want a 2-page SOP, some want just your industrial experience, or some want why only this program. So I got it evaluated again and again from Yogesh sir and many of my teachers with whom I was in contact, and it took me quite a long time. I started in October second week and I was over with it till November first week. So it requires a lot of patience, and it requires the guidance from your mentors also. But the people who have this misconception that they can get it written from somebody else, that I would say a clear no. You have to write it yourself. There can be someone who can guide you, but ultimately you have to write it yourself, because you know about yourself the best.
Okay, so when people are talking about SOP, that's really again we are trying to emphasize here is SOP is really important for your admission, guys. Please make sure you do it, guys. I know that you have a lot of questions. We have come to the end of the seminar. We'll just have a few more slides and we'll go for a doubt clearing session while I will post all the doubts to Ms. Harnoor here. Okay, so going forward, okay, what would you like to convey to your audience?
I would say that you don't need to lose patience, because patience always pays, and you need to follow what your SFA say, right? Like I've been saying it right from the beginning. You need to follow what your teachers are saying, because they are very experienced. They've taught many of the students, so they know your best. So you need to follow your teachers. You need to show patience, and you need to manage your time properly. You need to keep on practicing, because practice is always going to help you in a long way. That's it.
Okay, so guys, have you heard that? Practice a lot. The more you practice, much better. Okay, keep practicing it. And no, we already spoke about it. I'll just get the slide. And one last question: what are the sources for a student to improve the profile? What would you like to say? What are the ways a student can improve a profile?
First factor is like I said, GRE score. GRE score is going to be a big game changer. GRE score, if you are low on your ACADS, you think your ACADS are not that sufficient, your GRE score and your TOEFL score would compensate it. Then your LORs and your SOP. SOP is, I'm saying it again and again, SOP is a very big deciding factor, because the admissions committee get to know whether you have written it or not, or someone else has written it. You have to be very genuine and you have to be to the point. And if these factors are right in your favor, then a good academic background or some paper publications also would help you for getting an admit of your desired university.
Okay, so one more surprise we have actually for you. is that a message from Yogesh sir. Okay, we felt that no, chemical engineering is perhaps one of the field which is dominated by male no, gender, but women, likewise women engineers in general is non electrical and non-computer science branches are not common. Okay, so he says that it's easy to get a degree in engineering, but it's not easy to be a true engineer. In that sense, Harnoor is truly a rare person and woman and a passionate chemical engineer. He really felt that we were one of his favorite student, and he actually is traveling, so he couldn't attend the seminar. Otherwise, he would love to be a part of a seminar. He wanted
I would say this is one of the best things about this seminar. Getting a praise from Yogesh sir is all I wanted. He is one of my favorite teachers, and I am very happy to read this message from him. I really appreciate his patience.
Okay, for guys who are not, yeah, I'll definitely pass it on to him. For guys who are not sure who's Mr. Yogesh is a co-founder of GREedge, and he takes care of training and training team for GRE. Okay, so coming to the main part, like, guys, are you ready with your questions? Can I start shooting your questions through Ms. Harnoor? Okay, good. Guys, you can start posting your question. I can post it, but before that, I will go on for. No, I'll just give you a process of learning process has been explained, but let me explain once again. You'll be getting a personal call from a personal counselor. Once you join, you'll have a diagnostic test. Once that is done, there'll be a personalized study plan, learning sessions, and a session-based test and separation test. Okay, once after that, doubts which Ms. Harnoor was talking about, and the millisecond personalized feedback. This will be continuing for the rest of your process. So let me open a poll here. If you're interested to know about the program and how it helps, you can definitely let me know. I can ask the counseling team to help you out, or my other teams. Okay, good. Okay, so if you have any more doubts for any more questions from Ms. Harnoor Kaur, you can mail it to info@greedge.com. Okay, info@greedge.com. Team will send it questions to Harnoor. Harnoor, would you take some time and answer these questions for these guys?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
If you have any doubts, you can also post it on our Facebook group, which Ms. Harnoor Kaur will be happy to answer that. Guys, it was a great time. Thank you, Ms. Harnoor Kaur. It was a wonderful time, and your experience sharing will definitely help you guys. Guys, how was the seminar? How did you feel? How many of you are feeling motivated to do your masters, to do your PhD or masters? Okay. Any feedback from Ms. Harnoor Kaur? Any wishes?
From my side?
No, people are wishing you everything, Arnold. Okay, there are a lot of wishes come. They are wishing you all the very best. Yes, visa got stamped. She just have to leave India, which she's doing in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you for accepting for doing this seminar in this short time.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure having a guest seminar. I feel very much elated.
Thank you, Arnold. Hope you are in touch. Many of our students will reach university next year. Please guide them. Okay,
sure.
That will definitely help.
Sir, sure.
Okay, so once again. Okay, so guys, let's clap, right? But make sure it's synchronized. Okay, a round of applause for Harnoor Kaur.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, guys, you still have to need to develop that. Okay, thank you, guys. Wonderful time. We'll meet you next week with a guest seminar or a regular seminar. Please be tuned with us. Okay, if you have any doubts, post it to info@greedge.com. That will definitely, it will help you to clear all your doubts. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful time. Thank you, Harnoor. Have a great time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.